Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have well, I don't know if a lot of you might or might not know that in June we're having some elections. And I did a little bit of research, and from 2014's number, it seems like a lot of people don't know about these elections because we had only like 3,200 people voting. In June we're having the voting for Board of Supervisors. And today I have one of the candidates, Mr. Carlos Jessie Contreras. I know as Jessie. Thank you for being here today.
Yeah.
Like I said, I did a little bit of research. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, so usually for the June primaries, the vote is really low, especially when it's a non-presidential election. So usually the votes are low. Again, one of the things that we're doing is trying to make things a little bit better, getting more people out to vote and stuff. So trying to send out a little more reminders and being a little bit friendly with people to get out and vote and, exercise their right to vote and exercise their right to elect individuals.
Yeah. And before we get into all this, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you from the Valley?
Yeah, so my name is Carlos Jessie Contreras.
I think a lot more people know you as Jessie, right?
Yeah, so in my professional life, people know me as Carlos.
Okay.
In my coaching and out in the community, a lot of people know me by Jessie. That's why it was kind of rough when I was kind of doing the signs. Do I put Jessie or not? But a lot of people. There's people that call me and they go, "Hey, I didn't know your name. I didn't know you were Jessie." And then there's people that call me and they go, "I didn't know you were Carlos."
Yeah.
So I got a good 50-50. People that know me by both names. I'm originally from this area. However, I did grow up in the Bay Area, Fremont area, from when I was about 14 to spent about 10 years up there. And the last 20 years, me and my wife had lived here in Calexico. So we got married, raised our kids here. And I spent 13 years working with the county. I was the assistant director for workforce development, and I was the interim director for a year. And right now I work for, I have a contract with the county through a company that I work for. It's called Geo Group, formerly BI Incorporated. And what we do is rehabilitation services, behavioral change, and so individuals that are getting out of jail that require a second chance, we provide all the coursework for them. A lot of substance abuse, anger management, and things like that requires them. I have a master's in business administration, a bachelor's in political science with a minor in environmental studies. I actually have gotten to exercise, both in the administrative area, in both areas, on the private sector and on the public sector. So I'm pretty much my work experience has been pretty split, into half, as into having that ability to work with that. A lot of operational and administration, a lot of budgeting. So I know both corporate type of budgeting, and I know government budgeting, which is, it has a lot of little things attached to it, as into what the money could be used for or not, and things like that. So a lot of limits on that. One of the things that I had seen in Calexico is that within the last years, we haven't really gotten our share of funds coming back into Calexico. So you see like a decline on the workforce development, you see a decline on vocational schools, you see a decline on the roads. So today was very interesting for me because I was kind of driving, and it seems that all the new roads that are getting fixed, they stop, where District 1 begins. So you see Jasper Road kind of, they fixed one of the roads, the one that goes to Walmart, and it just stopped right there, right? And then you go on Jasper, and you're kind of zigzagging, because it hasn't been fixed. It's not in the board's agenda to get fixed, or, so you just kind of go, okay, maybe this is just an anomaly, and they're eventually going to do that. And then you come on Bacher and you run into the same issue. Yeah. And, you go through the airport and the back ones are not fixed. So there's it, and it again. It's kind of funny because where District 5 starts, a lot of the roads are getting fixed.
Yeah.
Where District 2 starts, a lot of the roads are getting fixed. So you kind of go, okay, they just waiting for the good, cement and stuff to come in for us to fix those roads, or But I think it's just like the funding for it needs to be pushed a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And primarily a lot of the commerce for us, comes through Calexico, takes those roads.
Yeah.
So it's something important for us to make sure that we have those roads, to make sure that we welcome the commerce to come through.
Mm-hmm.
So ideally, for me is to try to bring some of those funds, not just on the roads, but we got parks and recreations that is really bad here.
Lucky.
One of the things I got to give to Calexico is we make do.
Mm-hmm.
With whatever we have, we make do.
Yeah.
Right. I've been now coaching almost 9 years. So,
oh, wow.
And within those 9 years, one of the biggest problems that I had with kids was I coach basketball. So trying to get them to the paint, right? You tell the kids, hey, you need to get into the paint. And then we would go play Mexicali or San Diego or somewhere else, and then the courts are nicely painted. And we continue to practice outside the basketball courts of the high school.
Yeah.
Right. And then one day I'm just kind of looking at the courts, and then I'm going, now I know why the kids don't know where the paint's at.
Yeah,
right.
No
Because we hardly had any lines, or they didn't know how to line up after a free throw.
Yeah.
So we got, together with the parents, did a little bit of painting and stuff, and, kind of restore that part. Right. But sometimes we expect like people in the community to know certain things, and they're not as obvious for them, right? So we expect them to go vote, right?
Yeah.
But you don't see no commercials announcing, elections are coming out, come out and vote June 6th. This is the last time to register, so the government doesn't do a good job at advertising for voting.
Yeah. So you think that one of the reasons we don't get a big turnout is because of the lack of information or advertising that there isn't for.
Yeah. So there is I think it's a radio station that does the commercial for donuts, right? And so you kind of hear it. So I think on the voting part, getting out and voting, doing the vote part, right? I'm a little bit older than you, but you probably remember MTV on Rock the Vote, right? Where it's kind of like, hey, rock the vote, come out and vote, come out and vote. So it's the constant reminder of when elections were going to be, right? And it's kind of like getting those people to vote. Like right now with a lot of the millenniums, it's kind of like keep on sending texts, keep on doing the things, that reminds them to go out and vote. And and I think one of the most important things for that population is the getting registered to vote.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them think, oh, I could just go and vote. But if you didn't register 30 days before or so, you realistically can't vote.
When is the deadline to?
I don't have that within me, but I believe it's coming up the beginning of May. So I'll check on that.
Okay. Yeah, because the voting is when June 5th.
Yeah, June 5th is the primaries. Yeah.
So it's got to be before May
Right.
5th because it's 30 days. So if you're not registered, make sure to
get out and get registered. Then they got simple web page for you to register. There's a lot of questions on it. And I know you could even do it at the DMV and stuff.
Yeah.
Post office. So it's easy. It's easy to register. One of the greatest things that we have here is the right to vote.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Being able to go out and being able to say, I'm going to express myself by making this election. Lack of voting, right, is what gets the wrong people elected.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not looking for you to go out and vote. They're just looking for their 200 supporters or so, on a 3,200 people voting, they're not looking for too many people out.
Yeah, going back to the 2014 election, it was 3,200 people, and Renison won with 1,000 of those votes, and the 3,200 were divided into 6 candidates.
Right.
So I mean, in reality, like you didn't really need much to win in that election. So
Yeah, so right now on the primaries, because there's 4 candidates, there's 4 strong people out there looking to represent, District 1. Out of the 4 candidates, we will need, if nobody picks up 51% of the vote, and then there's a runoff. So the 2 people that pick up the most votes will run off to the November elections.
oh, okay.
Unless one of us picks 51%, and then they automatically win that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because the other candidates are Mr. Kim, yourself, Mr. Renison, Escobar.
Mr. Escobar, yeah.
So it's for you guys. Yeah, and just to let you guys know, the other candidates, if you want to stop by and be on the podcast, you're more than welcome. I reached out to you because I knew you. I don't know. Well, I know Mr. Kim a little bit, but I reached out to you because I knew you, and I thought it was a good way to reach out and make sure like that if the other candidates weren't too comfortable, maybe once they saw this they could. Because I mean, I'm not trying to just promote one, trying to promote everybody, make it fair. So trying to be
and I do appreciate what you're doing. I think it's this is like your 8th episode we were talking earlier, right? So to try to keep people informed of not just this, but if they see your other episodes and stuff, they know that you have a variety of things to cover, right? And I know that you're good at thinking politics, but you're not looking to defend any one person on the politics. It's kind of like come in and explain what what it is that you would do and stuff. And I think sometimes, we don't foresee that out in the public, right? Where here's the information, this is what they said, and nowadays everything is recorded.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, oh no, on such and such day you said this, and you better keep your word.
Yeah.
Right. And even though it's recorded, a lot of people don't, they still find it where they get aggravated because their person is not being represented and stuff, and I think it's just one of those things that ideally to give everybody an opportunity to come in and do it, and then be reasonable with the coverage and all that stuff. And I think that's kind of where you're at.
Yeah, I mean that's my goal at the end of the day, inform people and not I guess make people that come here accountable. Like, okay, you were here and you said this. It's because it's true. It's not like you're not making some story up.
Right.
So, but yeah, going back to the elections. One of the things that caught me by surprise is that anybody can run for this. Anybody that lives in the
district
that they're running for can. Right. I mean, luckily we have very qualified candidates this time, but I mean, there's other times where we've had people that
Yeah, and I think that's the advantage of the American election deal. If you don't like something, all right, it's kind of like we could complain, right? We could constantly complain about we don't like this, we don't like that, and they should be doing this or they should be doing that, but we don't approach people, right? So whoever gets elected should be open to being approached, right? Not just at the time that you're getting reelected, or at the time that you were elected, but I think as citizens, we need to say, hey, you know what? We need to hold people accountable, right? And say, hey, remember you said this, and are you currently working on that? Or did that take a sidestep? Is it something that you're looking to work at?
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes they could, we could come in with all the full intentions of doing something, and then you get there and there's a wall, right? It's kind of like, no, this is the things that come in first, second, third, or so, right? So if you allow yourself to be the rubber stamp person, right, that's what you're going to be. You're going to be the third vote for, the Board of Supervisors. But if you're truly looking for what's the best for your district, you're going to find the other people that represent your district. In Calexico, the Calexico area, the Winter Haven area, we have a couple of individuals that Castillo and Plancarte that represent our area, right? And it's kind of like looking for what's the best approach to resolving issues. and what's the best approach for us as a community, to get the resources that we need, to look at the activities that we need to bring in, and how are we going to make things better? So at the end of the day, you have to leave things better than you found them, right?
Yeah.
So like with my kids in basketball, one of the things I always tell them is, hey, you brought those bottled waters here, and those paper cups and all that stuff. You need to pick it up before you leave, right? And if you find a couple other things, pick it up. There's a garbage there. So, you kind of learn it and teach it and exercise that. With politics, it's the same, right? We want better police. We want better behavioral health services. We want better employment services. But if we say nothing, we get nothing.
Yeah.
Right? If we get the focus just to be on the north end, on the Salton Sea area, if we get just that focus, and then where are we left out with, right? And I think you kind of have to take a look at it. We're 1/5 of the whole county, and this is a huge county, right? Yeah. But we generate a lot of money for the county, both in the agricultural area, with the farmers, and they generate a lot of money out of this area. But then also with the border and things that come across, and so we have to start asking for those things, right? Because if we just expect the city to be doing one thing and they're not really getting the revenue or anything else, it becomes hard for us to hold them accountable. Yeah. And regionally, one of the things that I would love to do is to be able to get together with the Heffernan board, with the school board, with the city council, and then the board of supervisors, at least the three that represent the area, get together and then find out what each one of us needs. Is there a project coming in? Are you going to need some county services to approve certain things? Is there something that, going on within the hospital? Right, because a lot of people complain about the Heffernan group, but nobody goes in there and says, hey, this is the things that we're looking at, right? You have this budget, how are you spending it, right? So it's kind of holding people accountable as a whole, right? Because politics, we always say politics aside, but it's never politics aside. Yeah. So if you start setting things up and saying, okay, we meet once a month as a board to work on ideas and stuff, right? And it could be on a Saturday, where you just kind of meet and say, okay, we're working on the police issue. County's going to be able to help, and this how the schools are going to be able to help, and so on. Yeah, you can go on a retreat like Heffernan. Yeah, well, yeah. The thing is, retreats are good if you're going to get something out of it. Yeah. Right. And I think in general, when you go out, if I go out, for example, the company that I currently work for, they constantly send you out of trainings, right? But I had never been at a training where they go, this is a working lunch, right? And we're just going to work right through. Because then they go serve you the food, and then you take about 2 hours, and then the class gets started, right? So I was thinking, oh, okay, cool. I'm just going to get lunched. And then, nope, they actually served us the lunch, and the lady just kept on talking, right? Oh, okay. And it's like, this is a working lunch, right? Yeah. And I think that needs to be done. There's a lot of stuff that you could get out of San Diego, right? You could get San Diego ideas, but how you make them Valley ideas is different. Yeah. How you make them Calexico ideas is different. And I always say one thing in every job that I had is, and every project that I worked on, is if you're able to do it in Imperial County, you could take that project and make it anywhere, right? Why? Because, like I said, there's a lot of hardworking people, and I think sometimes we don't give each other the respect or the idea that somebody could do something better, right? We just kind of go, he's with so and so, so he, yeah. And I just don't like him. I think it's like the Mexican in us, like where we're really critical, well, not critical, but like we kind of hate on each other a lot. Where we see somebody else doing something, or advancing, or like, oh, he's probably, right. And I think ideally there's that other part of us, with our Mexican heritage, that if you see somebody highly in need, you're going to help them out. Right? So it's just kind of like putting that part aside and saying, okay, let's see what this guy is all about.
Yeah.
Right? Like you guys were doing comedy, right? It's kind of like, if I just show up and go, hey, I want to see if he could make me laugh. Right? And I already go with the mentality that he's not going to make me laugh.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for me to laugh. Right? Where, hey, I'm going to go support this guy and, take a listen at his jokes and, and enjoy myself. That type of deal. Right? So I think we run into the same kind of scenario, right? It's kind of like we all know what somebody's doing wrong, but we fail to look at what they're doing right. And sometimes it's kind of like, okay, hey, what if we do this a little bit different? What if I could help you on making these things better? Right? For the longest time in my basketball group, we had no help. Along came Miss Claudia Gutierrez, one of the parents, and she said, hey, I'll help you out with the kids. Right? She ended up staying, longer. She's currently coaching, ended up staying longer than most coaches. Then I had Coach Temo Beltran, who works as a CHP. He came in and he's like, hey, Coach, I'm gonna help you. And they both had their kids in there. But they started helping and we could divide more kids, enroll more kids, and have more kids active.
Yeah.
Currently we have about 62 kids. So when you have 3 coaches or other people helping, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right? You could run things a little bit more organized and you could be more effective. That's the way things are here in our community. I think that there isn't a lack of people wanting to help. It's just we don't know how to say, how can we help? Or what do you need me to do?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you just got to be able to jump in there. My first criticism when I met with somebody, and told them that I was running, they said, who the hell are you? And where in the hell have you been? Right? And to me, it was like, good question.
Yeah.
Right? So I've been active in the community. I've been active, with my work and other things like that. And the reason why I decided to run for county board supervisors and not necessarily for a city position or a Heffernan position or something lower is that I felt that I was both educationally prepared. I had the knowledge and, the know-how operational. I understand the county system. And I felt like at that part, I could have a direct impact.
Yeah. Because normally a lot of people, start at city council, school board, or Heffernan, and they jump. They use that as a platform too.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody's looking to become a career politician, right? And I just said, I study political science, right? So I don't think people start thinking that, right? But I think when you start and you go, well, I'm going to try out at the school board, and then I'm going to try it at the city, right? And then maybe later on I could try, county board of supervisors, and just kind of wait your time, to do everything. Then you're a career politician.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
Yeah, when you, at the end of the day, you think about it, you've already invested like 20 years into politics, you know. And so people, that's their career. 20 years in a job is, their career.
Yeah.
So.
And you got to like what you're doing, or the activities that you're looking to participate in, and there's a lot of challenges that we have here. For our county, we have a lot of challenges. For our people, we have a lot of challenges, and District 1 is completely full of challenges. Right?
Yeah, I think Calexico is a very unique city in the sense that we have a lot of people that are that had been here for a long time, generations of and then we have a lot of people that end up here because maybe their family member got deported, and then this is where they stayed because it's closer to Mexicali, or people that come down from Mexicali on a daily basis, and it's a very it's unique. It's I don't know, you can't really explain our environment because it's different.
Yeah, and you know what? The one thing that happens too, though, is you do end up falling in love, even with the chaos,
Yeah.
right? And one of my bosses used to say, "Hey, remember chaos is profitable, because there's a lot of opportunity in there. You just kind of have to search for the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So it's not looking for a needle in a haystack because you know what's broken, right? It's just kind of looking and seeing what you can repair,
Yeah.
right? And I think we're at that stage right now, right? There's been an increase in graffiti. There's been an increase in lack of police officers available for Calexico. So safety-wise, it's down.
And I do want to point out that our PD is getting better.
Yeah.
You see them patrolling more. You see them more active in our community. So
Right. So like my criticism there is not necessarily that the PD is a bad PD. Is
we need more.
you need more officers, and if the city can't afford the officers, then that's where the county has to step in with the sheriffs. Create a task force, take a look at probation, bring in some probation officers, right? Make it where they're all at the police station. I never want to say that we want to get rid of the
PD.
Calexico PD because it's always important, right? But then you run into the Hopeville issue, right? Where they got rid of the PD and county services went in there and now they're providing that service. They got rid of the fire department. Now county fire is there. We're kind of running into the same issue here, where, they're letting go of firefighters, right? Good firefighters with good experience, right? So that's like, if we reduce that, you're always going to run, between 40 and 60% of your cost on safety. And what's your safety? Your ambulance services, your fire departments, and, your police departments, right? So it's kind of like, how do you back them, to make them stronger, to bring them back into, what they're supposed to do, protect and serve. In all those areas, they're there to protect and serve.
Yeah. And going back to the being unique, in that sense too, in the sense of protection, we are unique because we have the border. So sometimes I know that sometimes our PD or our ambulance is called out to the border, and
Right.
It takes up the manpower.
time.
Yeah. So in that sense, I don't know if anybody's thought of. I'm sure somebody's thought about it, but if somebody's followed through in the sense of maybe going to the federal and saying like, what we need, we are helping you guys, we need.
Right. So our problem with the federal and the way that we ask for it is we ask for a meeting with them. We sit down and we're so amazed that they're the federal government, right? And they're here to help us. And they go, well, but you're going to have to wait because you really don't have, these concerns are not well written or, right? Rather than just say, hey, you know what? We want to have a meeting with the federal government. This is the things that we want to address with them. And if the guy in front of you, is not able to resolve them, and then ask for the person that's able to resolve them.
Yeah.
Right? We got a Senate representative. We have people that represent us. Sometimes you kind of have to hold them accountable and say, hey, the trickle-down effect, it hasn't trickled down here for over 20 years. So what are you going to do for us?
Yeah.
Right? Because there is ways that you could get funds, right? But sometimes you have to be personal with it, and say, look, we have over 40,000 people here, right? We have a large commerce, that comes across, so if you look at a lot of the truck drivers and things that go through, right? We support a great agriculture community, and, what are you going to do for the Oscars? What are you going to do for the, for all that the area that you're supposed to be covering?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just asking, right? Taking the other person, and instead of going, oh my God, it's the feds.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like,
yeah,
no, it's the feds. He got a job, so he's supposed to be doing this, and then, what is he going to do for us?
Yeah. I want to answer to Michael DC. I don't know who it is. He's been commenting. He's like, hey, put down your phone. But I'm trying to get into the in the Facebook Live so that I can, answer that. But And yeah, and he's saying thank you for for coaching the kids here in the community. I don't know if you know him, Michael DC.
I might know him. I don't know like I told you, I'm not too savvy with web pages and things like that, right? Because I'm more like a hands-on, right? Like what needs to be picked up, what needs to be activated and stuff, right? But so I struggle a little bit with that internet stuff, right? But
that's why you have your kids, huh? So
yeah, exactly. They're masters at it. They go, "Oh, Dad, here, just put this app, and then things are gonna pop up." And then you fall in love with that app, right? And so that's kind of where we're at with it.
Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to answer, because he's like, oh, put down your phone. But yeah, I'm trying to answer their questions. But yeah, I mean, you make a lot of good points in the sense of what the county can help us with, and what and I don't think it's just following through with with ideas and things that we need, because I mean we know that there's funds there that we could
Well, and that's my point in getting all the boards together, right? Is that they're the other domino, that sometimes you could get dominoes to fall in the right direction, sometimes you get them to fall in the wrong direction, right? But taking a look at that and saying, hey, okay, so who can help me? Who's the expert on this, right? The Ford mentality, right? Hey, we want to talk about transmissions. Well, I'm Ford, but here's the guy with the transmissions. He could answer all transmission questions, right? Same thing with this is know the issues, find out, okay, what's the actual problem and what are the actual solutions, right? And then getting those teams together, putting it together, and working together. On a lot of the stuff, like I said, on operational, on budgeting, on management and stuff like that, I consider myself to be very good at it. Okay. And sometimes we don't say enough that, we're good at something, but sometimes you kind of have to give yourself credit and say, I could do this. I could manage this. Right. We take a look at business development, right? So we have a multitude of organizations that are driven for business, right? And they do get together. But the process for anybody opening a new business, whether small or large, is intense, right? So if we are just to focus on the small businesses to make things better in the downtown area, right?
Yeah, because as it is, it's hard being a small business, and when you put all these obstacles for people to open something small, right. And I mean it kind of gets you kind of get discouraged in the sense of why am I doing this if it's
so you think of the process of going, hey, you know what, I wanted bottled water, right? So I'm going to open the faucet, get the bottle, fill it out, close it, and it's for sale that quick, right? And the process for business is, okay, there's 36 pages for you to fill out, 26 for this, then you have to have a fire inspection if you have a building. Do you know how much money you have in the bank, what you're going to pay, so all these things just kind of start coming in. And all you had was an idea to bottle something, right? And so there's a lot of logistics and things like that. For me, one of my greatest things that we could do is take a look at the city. Okay, who can get the licensing in the city, right? Who is in economic development of the county? Who is in business development of the city? If you could get a team of 5 people and task them, here's this new business. This guy wants to open a bottling company, right? I want you guys to focus the next 10 days and make sure they have all the licensing requirements, right? So you kind of go, okay, right? So you get all the experts, and now everybody's attending to you. And you as a business owner, you could say, hey, okay, so what do I have to do? You have to give me 10 days, right? And you're going to have to work with us. And we're going to meet from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to get all this thing hashed out. And we're going to try to do it in 8 days instead of 10 days, right? And you work them through the process, right? We have the individuals studying businesses, right, at the university level who need internships. What a better way to get them and say, hey, this person doesn't have a business plan. Can you work with them? And can you write a business plan within 10 days, right? and then kind of take them through that.
Yeah.
And then here's the whole package has already been filled out, right? And so you're setting that person up for success. The other thing is, we talked about not helping each other, but once you get that group of people to help you, you kind of go, oh man, I can't fail. Because I'm no longer just failing for me. They know my whole plan. They know, how much I have invested. They know what I'm supposed to be doing. So my behavior is going to change.
Yeah.
Right? Because I now have a group of individuals in the community that have some type of ownership, indirect ownership, but they have an ownership on my business succeeding. And we could duplicate that. And we could easily do it. Right? County spent over $2 million on the bowling alley. Right? Hey, the business owner there went out, got the money, right? He has an idea as into what he wants to do. He's paying his dues and stuff. But imagine that they could give Calexico or within the county, they could use $1 million for small businesses, right? So we talk about a loan for $25,000 to $100,000, right? So I see all this equipment that you have here, right? So I know you spend a pretty penny, right? So if you were, don't tell your wife, right?
No, in reality, it's
Yeah.
not a lot. It seems like a lot of gadgets, but I always brag about that mic you have in front of you. I paid $8 for that mic.
Oh, well then
I paid like $50 for this. So I mean, if you shop around,
you could get the good prices,
yeah.
right? But then you could always take it from a hobby to something of a late news or something that it's a little bit, where you could grow, right? So just imagine that within, the county is able to give you a $25,000 loan, right, to set up your own little studio and and they tell you, hey, over the next 5 years, you're going to pay $5,000 to pay the loan back, right? Is this some $5,000 doable for a business, right? Certainly, right? Over a period of 5 years. Now, let's say you end up getting somebody that you're going to hire, that they're going to help you. Right, and you pay them a certain amount of money, right, and you're kind of growing,
yeah,
right. So you're duplicating a lot of that money, right. You're making sense as into how you're investing, and you're tying in with the community.
Yeah. I have a question from Tony Ramirez. He says, I'm not familiar with the candidates, but why is he running now? Why is this the time for him to run? Just curious.
Yeah. So. I found it to be challenging. I found myself within the last year complaining a lot about things not getting done, right? And so I kind of had to go back and say, well, shit, if you truly think that you know how to do these things and, you ought to put your name out there, right? Because it takes a lot to just go out and put your name out there.
Yeah.
Right? I think a lot of people think you just got to go and register. Now there's fees that you have to pay, things that you have to declare.
Yeah, and
right?
and you're investing in your campaign, like
Right.
promotion and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And so, for me is I started to look at a lot of the activities that were missing in, a lot of the things for youth here that were missing, a lot of things that for seniors were missing, and how a lot of those services were available in El Centro or other areas, right? And I started to think about, why not here? Why not in the Winter Haven area? Why is District 1 being left out, right? So if you start taking a look at it and you truly understand how budgets break out, you kind of go, we're 1/5 of Imperial County. Why aren't we getting 1/5 of the services, right? And the money invested in it. And so that's the reason why I decided, okay, it's time for me to say, I'm going to run. This is the things that I'm looking to work with. And this is the things that I think, that are going to best benefit us, as a community. And I think, District 1 grows, believe me, the other areas will grow with it, right? Because you have to be conscious of activities that are not just within District 1, but also affect the rest of the county.
Yeah. Let's see. I had a couple questions here. Well, you mainly already answered a bunch of them. Like, why did you decide to run? Why do you feel like you're the best candidate?
Like I said, I have both, experience in the public sector and experience in the private sector. I think one of the greatest attributes is understanding county budget or state budgets. I have that. I also understand that I'm not going to be the solution for everything, right? So I can't come here or go somewhere and say, yeah, you have that problem. I'm going to get it fixed tomorrow, right? Just vote for me and tomorrow you get that problem fixed. It's not true, right? It's not that you come in with the golden hand and it's like, oh, things are fixed, right? I know that it takes work and dedication. And I know that, once I get into it, I work at it. I'm dedicated, I was given the opportunity to coach kids almost 9 years ago, right? So the coach just said, hey, you know what? I got finals at IVC, so within the next 2 weeks, can you help me, right? And I said, sure, And I joke with my wife because I said, I always paid $600 for the first year. I paid $600 a month to coach kids, right? Because that was the cost of enrolling them into tournaments, paying for the refs, and getting uniforms, getting basketballs, and all that stuff, right? Yeah. And ideally for us is we're looking for an individual here that, one, can understand the community, two, is able to make those changes, right? And I think sometimes we just kind of have to hold judgment on other people that that are currently elected and stuff, to see what it is or how you can work with them, right? Because if I go in and say, hey, you know what, I'm voting, I decided to run because city council is really inept and they're not doing the things that they're supposed to, right? I'm passing judgment on 5 individuals that are trying to do something to the best of their ability, right? And again, sometimes you need that additional thing, and I think, I have an investment. I have my kids. That's an investment in here. I love my job. I love the things that I do here in Imperial County, here in District 1, right? I think sometimes we could easily say, hey, you know what, if you don't like it here, then go to Brawley, right? Or go to Imperial or go somewhere else. And again, we come back to the majestic part of falling in love with Calexico, right? The high school pride that there is in Calexico with the Bulldogs and stuff, right? There's some of those things that I didn't live here to experience it, right? But now through my kids and stuff, it's like it's a huge experience, right? That community pride that there is, right? And things are going to happen in Calexico that people go, oh, only in Calexico will that happen, right? Yeah, but there's a lot of good things that happen in Calexico that you go, well, only in Calexico will we have this much activities, right? Like they have the art walk or the other activities here in Calexico that are very community driven, right? And you go out and you experience them, and you kind of go, hey, you know what? I like this. This is something that is still a small town, right? But it has a different feeling. Yeah. Right? And you run into people that you haven't run into and stuff, and sometimes if you look at the kids right now and you kind of go, if I had to do changes for somebody, it's going to be those individuals, right? To try to make things better at home, to try to make things better for the kids that need that additional services. We have a lot of kids between 18 and 23 here that lack experience in work or vocational training and things like that, and not because I worked at workforce development, but I could tell you that the last 5 years, it's the funds and all that stuff hasn't been used appropriately, to really train individuals to get our youth some work experience and make sure that that they're earning some money in the summer. Before IBROP, all those groups had funds. The money's still there. It's just that the individuals that have operated that have not done it in an appropriate way, right? And it's kind of looking at those things and going, no, let's make sure that we get somebody in there that's gonna be using those funds appropriately. And let's make sure that we're not sending it back to the state or Department of Labor, because you didn't use them, right? The money is there. We talked about the feds, right? What can we do? Well, a lot of the money's there. It's just, you just got to tap and say, okay, this is the 3 ways that you could use this money. Then figure out how the 3 ways you could use it in Calexico or in District 1 and throughout the county. And then use the money appropriately.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the thing with, we got behavioral health department money. We got social services money. There is money out there.
So Tony has another question. So he says, how are these funds being used? Are they just not being used, or?
I don't want to say that they're being misappropriated, because I'd be wrong to say that. I just think people don't really know how to manage that money, right? They don't want to find out, okay, how should I use it, or what's the purpose of it, right? So we run into small little boards of individuals that go, no, we should be training individuals on this area or that specific area, right? Rather than say what's needed in the community, right? Do we need more individuals training in firefighting? Do we need more individuals training in how to clean water, or how to work at a water plant? Those jobs that have longevity, right? And then can we use it to generate jobs or ensure jobs, right? And that idea, I think, is what's missing with some of them, because they look at it and they go, departmental wise, I could use it to pay this much, get this many staff or get this much overtime, right? When in reality is you kind of have to take a look at it and say, okay, if we have this service, how many kids are going to benefit from it, right? And kids, when I say kids, a lot of them are still in high school. Some of them are already in college, but if they're able to get a summer job that could make them $1,500, $2,500 during that summer, as a parent, right? I could say, okay, well, then they could buy a little bit of the clothing. They could, buy materials for school, or, be preparing to go out and be active.
Especially here in the summer, it's kind of a hard for the community because of the heat.
Right.
Your electric bill is usually high, and you're struggling to catch up with that, and
right.
and having that income for your kids,
Yeah, because and then it makes the kids responsible also, right?
Yeah. Ricardo Ramirez says, how can we avoid failures such as the Calexico Family Fun Center?
I think by holding people accountable, right? By coming out. I think a lot of times when I say about coming out is when you have a community meeting, go out there, voice your opinion. That's the reason why I'm running, because it's like I didn't voice my opinion on a lot of stuff, right? So I can't criticize something that happened if I allowed it to happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if I'm gonna look at it, and then is what could I have done? I didn't do it, right? So what could I do now is make sure that this doesn't happen again. If that's an important thing for me, and then let's make sure that we get involved in it, right? There is a lot of projects that are worth rescuing here, right? There's a lot of planification and things that got paid, right? That now we're taking a look at it and going, we need another New River study to find out that, the New River is jacked and is killing us softly, right?
Yeah.
You can't put another $1.5 million within the same company. Eventually, you're going to have to build a water treatment plant, right? What's one of the things that they're most deficient here in California right now is water, right? So even that dirty water from the New River is precious, right? Because it goes to I'm sorry, my phone rang and it goes to this doesn't want to catch, huh? It goes to the Salton Sea.
Yeah.
Right? So they made a couple little waves and stuff, right? And they go, the water's eventually going to get cleaned up, right? We talked about the heat, right? The heat gets that water boiling up. The vapors come up, right? And at a certain time, you get a certain stench, right? Just like if you live by where the cattle is at, right? Cattle is beautiful. It produces a lot of money for the county and stuff, right? The farmers love it, right? But at a certain time between, let's say 5 and 6:30, you got to smell it, right? And it's the smell of money for somebody else. Well, the New River has the same stench, right? And our individuals in the west side, get that. But with it, you get a lot of pollutants, you get a lot of infections, you get a lot of asthma problems and other respiratory type of problems, right? Eventually, you're gonna have to. We could wait on the federal government to come in and say, yes, we're gonna give you the money to do it, right? Or invest that $1.5 million and start doing it ourselves, and then go back, right, and file a lawsuit,
Yeah.
right, and say, hey, we spent $80 million, and we found a solution to clean this thing out, right? The All-American Canal got lined by Los Angeles, right? So they did all the lining of the cement and stuff so that the water didn't sip down and stuff. And they go, how you could pay us is by sending us that water that was going to sip, right? Which was 25% or 30%, right? You could do the same thing with this, right? You're going to send it. It's going to be clean, to Salton Sea, right? If you're driven through Salton Sea, you know that Salton Sea's to the right, nothing to the left. Send the clean water to the left, create a recreational park, and then, after it gets used, it goes this way, right? Be active with it, right? Yeah. See what it is that you can do.
Yeah, be creative. I guess we're lacking creativity.
There's a lot of like turbines, right? That small turbines that could generate just as much as the solar panels, right? Where you could create canal systems, put the turbines in there, allow them to rotate, right? They're out of sight, right? And they actually create more jobs because you're going to have somebody technical coming in and looking at them rather than what we currently have with the solar panels. It's kind of like, here do you all come, set it up, right? And then that's it. Yeah. And I was talking to somebody at the solar panels the other day, and they go, oh my God, I'm going to get a $3,000 bonus if we finish 9 weeks early, right? And it's like, okay. I said, how much money are you making a week? Oh, right now I'm making $1,200. So if you calculate 1,200 times, the 9 weeks or whatever, I said, how much money are you losing? Right? Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah, because we think about how much am I going to make now? What's my immediate benefit? Yeah. Rather than the long-term benefit.
At the big picture.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we're at with it, is kind of taking a look at it and saying, are we done asking the questions, and are we ready to do the investment? And I think with it, we're ready to start the development part. Is just putting the money out there. Yeah. And holding people responsible for it.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's we're putting that money into these projects, but at the long run, we'll probably get it back, twofold or threefold.
It immediately has an impact. Like for example, I think a lot of people will criticize individuals that work at the county because sometimes you want to work at the county, right? They go, oh, they make all this money and stuff, right? But you have like a lot of the individuals that belong to the Teamsters Union, right? And come to find out, like 400 of them work for social services or so, right? For different agencies, and they're at minimum wage, right? Minimum California wage, which is $10.50, $11.
I think it's 11 now.
Yeah. So they're trying to support a family, a house, and all that, right? And sometimes both the mom and dad work there, both getting minimum wage. So they're kind of scraping through, right? And I understand that sometimes the county can say, oh, you know what, we don't have the money. But if you have the money for the overtime, you have the money to pay a better wage. Yeah. Right? If you have the money for the overtime, you have the money to pay somebody else to get employed, right? So you can't give somebody 62 hours of overtime, right? And say, oh, there's no money for your wages. It's kind of like you're going to burn that dude out or, that lady out, right? Yeah. Give them what it is that you should be paying, right? Sometimes their work, could be easily valued between $13.50 and $14. It's not a big increase what you're doing, right? But I could tell you that you give an individual who's making minimum wage a $2 increase, where are they going to spend the money? They're not going to go to San Diego or other. They spend it in the valley, right? Which starts to duplicate, right? And sometimes you kind of have to take a look at it and go, yep, it makes sense that we give them a raise, right? Within the sheriff's department, right? They have the brand new jail, right? They're housing a lot of individuals out of Riverside in there. Riverside pays a certain amount of money. So I think, the county's kind of making out some good money. But some of those guys are still working 30, 40 hours overtime, right? Because they don't allow them to hire new personnel, right? How many individuals, younger kids, that are just getting out of doing an AA or so, that are interested in getting into border patrol or corrections or something that you could employ in there. And maybe it has to be a trampoline for them.
Yeah.
Where they kind of get the experience and, because sometimes you get into a job and you go, I don't want to do this.
No, and the thing is that, a lot of kids that get out of college, they go to school, they rack up all these loans and stuff. And then they go into the real world and they're like, oh, do you have any experience? They're like, well, no, because, in reality, there's no, people won't hire anybody without the experience. In reality, there's also no, jobs to get the experience,
Right.
like you're mentioning, like IVROP, like getting the youth, that's a good way to,
to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then the other thing is this, like Office of Education pays for if you have a certain degree, right? So they give you a regular salary, and then they're paying you for the level of education that you have. At the county, it's backwards, right? We want a master's, and we want to pay you $16 an hour, right? And you kind of go, Jesus, but I still owe $40,000 on that master's.
Mm-hmm.
How it just doesn't equate to me being here 30 years just to pay that out, right? It's kind of like, if you're going to value education, if you're going to request education, and then put some backing into it, right? Be willing to pay for what you're asking for. Yeah. And sometimes, unfortunately, that's how we end up with individuals that make decisions that it's not that they're not educated or that they don't have the knowledge, but they lack the drive for it because the funds are not there. For an individual to say, hey, you know what, I'm being appreciated. This is a huge challenge for me, but I'm being appreciated, right? We look at the individuals that take care of the elderly, right? And you have an analyst that comes in, right, takes a look at you, walks you through what you're doing to take care of an older lady, and they go, I'm going to authorize you for 2 hours, right, at $11 an hour. So you're going to make, $22 minus taxes and stuff. So $8 later, you're trying to complete hours. You're staying in there 4 hours or 5 hours, because that's the reality of what it takes to take care of an individual, of an elderly, that their needs increase. And for one reason or another, the way they analyze it is decrease the number of hours.
Yeah.
Right? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right? We love to prolong life, right? But it's just, you get to the point where you go, is this, living, or is this just kind of like survival type thing?
Yeah.
And it's challenging for a lot of them, because if you see them, there's a lot of, I see a lot of ladies here that work for IHS, right, that are constantly doing like beyond what they're paid for.
Yeah.
Right. And, I think we often confuse it with individuals that are taking care of their parents. And we say, well, they shouldn't get paid to take care of their parents, right? And you go, well, they're having to take care of their parents, and unable to work, because family still matters.
Yeah.
Right? So, if your wife had to take care of her dad, right, and had to do everything, and she's not able to work, then now you're going to have to pick up the slack, right? And maybe she could be getting money, for her to assist them. It doesn't make up what she was making.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
But then you kind of have to say, hey guys, we're gonna have to strap down, and we're gonna make it, but grandpa comes first.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the other part, I think, of our valley, is kind of like, we understand that, right? There's a lot of, like, on the family meals and things like that, like a lot of people that still go hungry here in the valley.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of go, why? Right? Because we're able to go buy a gallon of milk if all the stores are closed and I have to go to Circle K and pay $6-7, you're still able to do it, so you don't see it. Why can't they provide, and then we automatically assume, it must be a drunk, or he must have a bad habit and unable to provide for the family.
Yeah.
Right? We don't see that they get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go work until 7 o'clock, are bringing a little bit of money home, and they're trying to take care of the family just like everybody else. Right? Those are things that we have to visualize, and we have to be able to see beyond our and I'm gonna say blind racism, of what we think that person is, rather than to say, hey, Jose, nice to meet you and stuff. Hey, what is it that you do and stuff? And you go, oh, you do that? Oh, you work that many hours? Oh my God, you get paid that little? Kind of like, feel the empathy for that person. Find out, what is it? And they go, hey, you know what? I didn't even have a high school diploma, and this is where I'm stuck, but I'm doing my best on it. I'm just swimming not to sink.
Yeah.
And when you find that out, it's kind of like, okay, what type of vocational trainings do they need? Do they need long-term employment? And are we truly looking for long-term employment? Right? What type of companies can we bring that create a long-term employment? Right? I've seen a lot of people. I did job development for a while, right? And I still run into some people that are employed, the same, like 20 years ago that they got the job. And, they're like, hey, how you doing? I ran into a guy the other day, and they're like, hey, I heard you were running and stuff. He goes, I'm fortunate I don't live in your district and stuff, but I'll go walk with you. Let me know what, and gave me his phone number. I hadn't seen that guy maybe in about 14 years, right? And he just happens to be now a supervisor at the one of the geothermal plants and stuff, right? And he just kind of worked his way, into that.
Yeah.
And those are stories that I think are not told. We just see success, and then we automatically think they knew somebody that got them there, right?
Oh yeah.
We don't know how much work they put in there.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that,
again,
again,
even though it does happen where we have a lot of was it nepotism? That's what it's called. We have a lot of nepotism, and I think it's anywhere. I mean, look at the White House, and there's a lot of stuff right there right now.
So I think the challenge on nepotism is, are you bringing somebody competent, or are you just bringing somebody to, just because you know them, right? And if you're bringing somebody that is competent, and you went out and you review people, and you got to build a team, then you build a team, and your people to build a team. But the biggest challenge for us here in this district is, how do we train people, and what are we training them for? Right? It's kind of like even the car washes are gone here, right? Even the car washes are gone, right? Because one is what they weren't either managed wrong, or we didn't teach them how to appropriate their own funds to to make it a successful business and stuff. And I think, like the Chamber of Commerce does a lot for them, but I think sometimes you kind of have to figure out, if you're doing this, this much for them, sometimes you kind of have to take a look at the 10 companies that you're not, or the 10 small businesses that you're not, and kind of going in there and saying, hey, what is it that you need? Right? Oh, well, maybe I'm a barber, right? Well, I need new chairs. I need new, equipment and stuff, because this one just isn't cutting it. And, it could probably shave 15, 20 minutes of waiting time per customer, right? And it's okay, well, what's the cost? And sometimes they don't know the cost. They don't know, they work so much that they don't have
like
other things down, right? Or don't realistically understand that investment, or that they have to make some type of investment, right? Or where they could get a loan to get ahead.
Yeah.
And
a lot of times it's just that, they don't have the means to get, to invest more into
some making their place better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest challenges for us here is how do we improve services, right? I think we're done developing. I think we're done implementing. It's just now you look at it and you go, okay, there's 6 things on our senior list, to improve services for seniors, right? And then you just kind of have to figure out, what those 6 things are. And then if you get the senior people involved in it, they could tell you exactly what's wrong.
Yeah.
All right. There's a politician that had promised to put the water things, to fill out the water at each one of the senior apartments, right?
Like
the water dispensers, right? So they could go in, get their 5-gallon jar and take it to their apartment and stuff, right? It sounds very simple, right? And it sounds very doable, but it hasn't been done, right? And you kind of go, okay, well, they might not be able to carry the 5-gallon, but maybe we need to introduce the 3 gallons, get a company to work with them and setting up one of those dispensers, right? The company's still making their money. They come in, they fill out, they have the ice dispenser, they get their ice, right? And they don't have to walk like, you have all these senior apartments. They have to come to a soul market to fill out, or they have to, and you see the elderly people in the summer, right, walking with their like 2 of those gallons, and they have them on little homemade type of carts or little dollies and stuff.
There was this one time where believe it or not, it was raining here. It was pouring, and I saw this elderly man like coming down from El Sol, and because I wasn't going that way, so I flipped a U-turn on 98, and I was like, "Hey, where are you going?" And sure enough, he's going to those senior apartments that are by Rancho Frontera.
Yeah, and you run into that, right? And those are easy things to fix, but they're big problems for them. Right? Even just going to the groceries, right? There's a lot of them that don't have a vehicle, and you see them walking early in the morning. I'm going to work, and you see people walking, and you go, "These people are walking for exercises. These people are walking because they're gonna go grocery shopping. They're gonna go get their dispense, assistance or something like that." And sometimes it's just, we have places where they dispense food, and sometimes it's kind of like, what can we do? You have a truck, right? So you could go into the dispense places. Hey, you know what? I'm going to donate my Saturday, 3 hours, and I'll be in charge of Rancho Frontera, and I'll take the dispense there.
Yeah.
Right?
Putting me on the spot here.
Well, it is those type of things, where you can find people that can say, hey, you know what? Maybe, you use your kids, and you go, hey, I want to teach you, how to be community involved.
But, not that, now that you mention it, I didn't even know that it was such a thing where, there's dispensaries where people go get their groceries. I mean, I didn't even know. So, like, maybe it's something that it needs to, be more
advertised and stuff. And a lot of them, they charge a little bit, right? But an individual with a fixed income of $600 per month or $800 per month, and they're paying $500 in rent and plus light and all that stuff, right? They're really not going to have the money for them to be at that, And I think a lot of times we think, oh, it's a lot of welfare. They're just on welfare. They're on this and that, right? But realistically, we don't know their habits, or whether it's a good habit or a bad habit. Or is it what is sustaining them?
Yeah.
We just think about, oh, here we are spending money on them, right? Without really knowing the person that we're judging.
Situation.
And it's just kind of like that ideal part, that they, what is it that you're going to do to help them, right? And if you're not going to help them, then don't complain about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we all complain, right? We say, hey, well, I pay my taxes and stuff, right? So, yeah, pay $10,000, $15,000 worth of taxes through the whole year or whatever, right? But, once you spread it out, you go and you're paying half a penny, right? For if everything I complained on was based on that, right? And then people would go like, here's your penny, dude. It's like, put it in the bank and just don't say anything, right?
Yeah.
That's the ideal part of it, right?
Well, Jesse, we've been at it for an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. You brought up a lot of good points, and I think a lot of people now know who you are, know your background, know your experience. So, any final points that you wanna?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you. I really do appreciate. I think the conversation was a lot lighter than what I was expecting. Right?
Yeah.
You told me the other day, and I was like, oh my god, I got to go in front of my microphone, right? But that dude didn't stab me or anything, so it's like it's a good deal.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when I invite them over, they're like, oh no, but it's once you get over the fact that you have a microphone in front of your face, it's just a conversation. It's
Yeah.
it,
I really do appreciate it,
Mhm.
and I thank you for inviting me. I think one of the most important thing is going to be to try to get people out to vote,
yeah,
right? So now I'm going to put a challenge on you, right? Is that as you're doing this podcast,
Mhm.
is remind people about the June 5th election.
Okay.
That there's a June 5th election. It's a primary. It's important for you guys to get out and vote. Voice your opinion, voice your, put your vote behind it, right? I'll send you the information as into when is the last day to register to vote, right? And I'm going to challenge you to just kind of do
Push
that,
it.
right? And, like the only thing that can make me work effectively and be honest and be active is if I do have the vote of people, right? So I want people to be confident to give me their vote, right? I'm asking a lot, because it does take some time, for them to get out there, think about who they're going to vote, put a plan together and say, this is who would best serve me. And I'm asking for that from people,
Mhm.
right? And, like right now you said 3,200 people voted. I'm asking for 3,200 people to vote for me, right? It's a huge challenge.
Yeah.
But then you have 40,000 plus constituents, right? Because I think even the kids have a right to get their opinion, right? Individuals that are elderly, individuals that are not able to make their decisions. Those are the individuals that you're making decisions for,
Yeah.
right? And at one point or another, you're gonna have to make hard decisions, and I think I'm the appropriate person. But again, I'm just asking for you guys to help me out with the votes out there, and again, I just became a public figure, right? So now it's kind of like my wife said, hey, why don't you put your face out there in the posters and stuff, right? So people know you and stuff. And it's like, I'm not photogenic, right? I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking, but that's about it,
Yeah.
right? But now here we are, right? And I think, like you said at the beginning, a lot of people know me by Jessie because of my coaching and the relationship that we have with individuals. And then there's a lot of people that know me by Carlos, and they understand the other part of it, right? My work, the things that I've done. And I want to just keep helping the community, keep active, keep doing the things that I've been doing, whether it is coaching, whether it's trying to come up with new ideas and things that we could do better, and taking a look at opportunities that we can bring to our valley, that we could bring, the structure of values for our kids. I know like 99% of the people that that I know here from Calexico have good, strong family values.
Yeah.
Right? And it's kind of like they're constantly exercising that. But then we get into that bubble and go, oh, just right here with this group, right? Or just with that
Yeah.
group.
I mean, that's me. I'm really not. I might do this, but well, this is more popular than my YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Humble brag, I have a YouTube channel, and but I mean, it's only a specific group that watches my stuff, and most of them are my friends.
Mhm.
But I mean, like you mentioned the art walks and stuff like that. I usually don't go to those because I'm not I get kind of like claustrophobia with a lot of people and stuff like that.
Well, the only way to work around that, right, is to be there.
Yeah.
Right? Because I normally sweat a lot when I'm being interviewed or something, right? And look, you got me like perfect, right? Like no sweats, my hands are not sweating or anything like that. So ideally it's just kind of getting out there. Because I really think you have a lot to show, as into what Calexico has. And your name, on it has it, right? You use Calexico as a name,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So if you're using it, and then you're going to have to get out there and represent it,
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
okay, you're gonna have to take this and hook it up at the park or hook it up somewhere else and say.
And the thing, the reason I like do this is because I'm using the people that are here to they're representing Calexico. I'm just a means for everybody that is doing something for the community. Like, let's say Calexico Brewing Company. Let's say the girls that did the pet adoption. That's my end goal. To put those people out there. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I do have to put I mean, and I think I am like you, but I haven't reached that point where I'm gonna say I'm gonna run. But I do complain a lot. I do, but I never go to the meetings. So this is my way of, this is my action. This is my way of putting in, my little work.
Yeah, your 5 cents in, and yeah, and I think. This is your opportunity to say, do I put my 5 cents to make $1, right? And just kind of complete that circle and stuff, right? If given the opportunity to represent District 1, I would want to come back for you to ask me 3 months after, right? Like, okay, what have you done in 3 months, right? Because you could get out there and you go, hey, I'm going to swing at that ball, and, and I come back and I can say, well, I tried 20 things and I striked out every single one of them, right? It's kind of like when people ask, how's your business? If you're insurance and you haven't sold insurance, and they go, how's your business? Oh, it's great, right? I haven't sold a damn policy, but it's great. A lot more people know me now, right? That type of thing. It's kind of like hold me accountable, right? Every quarter you should want to know, okay, what are they completing? What are they doing? Yeah. Are they just voting to vote, or are they voicing their opinion for their district? And that's kind of where we're at. It's just kind of like, if I'm going to hold somebody accountable for it, and then I got to voice my opinion. I don't want to be disrespectful out there, or just send out a text thing and it's like, oh, this guy's a freaking idiot, right? Yeah. Or he's just lying to you, or but if there isn't people that are out there representing us, and then that's what we deserve.
And I know how you challenge me into getting people to vote. I'm going to challenge you to be a little bit more techie.
Tech-oriented.
and because like things like this, a lot of people don't know about podcasting. A lot of people mentioned Gil. He's a really good friend of mine. He kind of like pushed me into doing this. People like him and me, we do this to inform people, to, like you said, Gil's more of a holding people accountable, more of a, talking. Right. So, just, I want to hold you, put you to the test to, listen to more of this, listen to whether it's Gil, whether it's me, and share it, let people know, there's these people that are trying to, get this kind of thing going, because at the end of the day, we use a lot of technology for Facebook, and we're just doing chismes or but I mean, this is a good way to inform people, to learn, because I mean, I hardly listen to any music. I'm always listening to a podcast, listening to a book, because we're always either just walking around, cleaning the house. This is a good way to get informed. There's a lot of it's the technology has made it easier for people to put information out there. Right. Whether there's a lot of bad information that's not true, but yet again, there's a lot of information that's good. So I want to challenge you to share this. Make people
be a little bit more open and stuff. And I'll do that. I'm gonna have to get home and ask my daughter how to do it. But we'll definitely do that. And I just think, again, I congratulate you for putting this together and taking that risk, right? Because it's a huge risk. Yeah. Right? Because at times we're going to find ourselves stuttering or things, like, oh my God, how am I supposed to do this? Or, did I block that? Or, and it took you a little time to get everything organized, right? And it's like, so you just kind of have to be appreciative of that. right? And appreciative of your wife that lets you do it, right, at home and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
you
yeah.
send everybody out to that room and stay over there while
Yeah.
we do the interviews, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, and I know you have a job and stuff, and again, I thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Well, you're welcome. And like I said, any other candidate that wants to stop by, you're more than welcome. You can email me at quepasacalexico@gmail.com or hit me up on Facebook. Let me know if you want to come by. I'll ask my wife for permission. See if she But yeah, I'm gonna end that there. I want to plug my YouTube channel with my son, the Ivy Nerds. We do a lot of weird things. Lately, we've been tasting name brand products versus the generic products, and I'm making him see if he can taste the difference, because a lot of times it's $1 difference in the product. So like, you're like, okay, if I can buy the generic one, save me $1. Maybe they will notice, but they do notice, trust me. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.